Most likely, if you're considering your CRM options at the enterprise level, you'll likely have Salesforce in the mix. Makes sense, it's an industry stalwart, has a large user base, and most senior salespeople would have had some exposure to it. If you have the time, budget, and technical support, it's a very good platform. But there's actually another entrant in the enterprise CRM space that you should be considering, and that's HubSpot. I know what you're thinking, that's a marketing platform designed to support inbound marketing. You might also know it as a free CRM designed for the SME market. And that's right, both are correct. HubSpot does the marketing side very, very well, and it does have a series of sales tools that are effective in the SME space. But more recently, you should be looking at HubSpot's enterprise CRM credentials. The product line is far wider than just marketing, but it still retains the pros of its background. If you have a sales force up to 500 strong, it's a consideration you need to have on the table. I'm not going to bore you with explaining what a CRM is or how a business would use it. If you're watching this, you're probably well versed in that already. But what I would like to do is talk you through our own side-by-side comparison of Salesforce with HubSpot. It comes with the obvious caveat, we are a HubSpot partner, we use the tool across our clients and for ourselves internally, but we also have plenty of experience working with Salesforce. I'm not going to hide away from it, we're definitely Team Orange, but we do try to be as impartial as possible. HubSpot and Salesforce are two very different beasts. HubSpot has organically built out new hubs over the past 13 years. Salesforce, now a 13.3 billion turnover giant, has primarily grown through acquisition, which brings an amazing array of features, but doesn't lend itself to a coherent toolset. HubSpot has maintained its model of building from the ground up, as opposed to Salesforce, which is built through acquisition, meaning it can be much easier to get different functions to work together. Salesforce is the grandfather of the SaaS world, being amongst the first to offer cloud-based subscription models. It's the household brand name, and Benioff has built one of the world's truly amazing businesses. HubSpot, on the other hand, was built around a marketing movement. Their pedigree has always been in the marketing world. But that's where the strength in the sales side comes from. HubSpot's built the CRM and sales tools to address a need that aligns with your marketing efforts. Having a sales CRM that aligns with marketing, both teams get exponentially more value than having disparate solutions. And sales isn't a bit part player in the HubSpot stack. Nearly 50% of HubSpot customers are leveraging both marketing and sales. That's considerable penetration into the market. As a product, Salesforce is very much geared towards the enterprise space, and most companies use it because of just how far you can customize and tailor it, which is essential within a large organization. Being honest though, most of the companies we've helped that use Salesforce, they're not using more than 20% of the available functionality. In most cases, it's overkill and becomes complex very, very quickly. I'm yet to come across a business using Salesforce that doesn't have frustrations around the structure of the CRM or the state of their data. That's not Salesforce's fault, but it is a result of the customization and the seemingly good intentions of the admins at the time. And one of the key things to remember, with complexity comes cost of rollout, cost of maintenance, and cost of training. On the orange side of the fence, HubSpot is an ideal solution for a company wanting a user-friendly, out-of-the-box CRM, or for an enterprise-level business looking to get full visibility over the sales pipeline in real time. There are less readily available integrations with HubSpot, which can cause issue for some, but with a rapidly growing marketplace of their own and an open API and integration process that is far more accessible, it shouldn't remain a consideration for long. Given the full lifecycle functionality HubSpot offers through marketing, sales, and services, user adoption is decent, and most importantly, the learning curve for new users is far, far shallower than that with Salesforce. While Salesforce has pricing starting at $25 per user per month, this can often go to more than $300, depending on the needs and scale of the business, leaving a fairly wide disparity in cost between the two platforms. Let's look at some of the pros and cons of both platforms. So where does Salesforce excel? First up, we have customization. Cost aside, Salesforce is highly customizable and has one of, if not the biggest marketplaces for apps and integrations. This means, provided you're happy with the complexity of the software, you can customize it pretty much any way you want around your business needs. With adoption, Salesforce can be incredibly complex, but initially it's pretty quick to upload your current data into the platform and get started. If you're looking for sales reps who know how to use it, chances are, given how widely Salesforce is used, new hires will have had some experience with the software in the past. But if you're not familiar with Salesforce, then this very quickly becomes a con. Salesforce is regularly described as not having an intuitive or user-friendly interface on platforms such as G2. So definitely something to be aware of. It's also very scalable. Much of this is covered in customization, but you can scale Salesforce up and down as much as you need due to the number of apps available. With it being cloud-based, Salesforce is not only easy for your teams to access and use on the go, it also comes with a high level of security to ensure your key data remains safe. Given the sensitivity of the content in the CRM, it's hardly surprising. But, as expected, there's some downsides to using Salesforce too. Salesforce prices are set as per user per month, but it's important to realize that the payments are made annually, meaning you could be putting down a considerable investment in your CRM upfront. It's not necessarily an issue for larger enterprise organizations, but given the current climate, cash flow is definitely king, and large upfront investments may make budget discussions with your CFO difficult. This also increases the risk of vendor lock-in, which is often cited as an issue by those who haven't necessarily liked using Salesforce, but have felt forced to persist with it because of the initial investment. Not to mention the implementation costs. They can quickly increase your platform investment as well, with the cost of a consultant adding 5, sometimes up to 6 figures into the startup costs. While Salesforce is very customizable, each new application or integration comes with additional expense, meaning as you scale the ability and size of your Salesforce CRM, your cost can very quickly increase. Again, because Salesforce has grown through acquisition, its customizations haven't been built in and sit more like bolt-ons, meaning it can be difficult and costly to add customization. Salesforce is a powerful CRM tool, and if you have a dedicated team with the time and inclination to get the most out of it, it could be the right option for you. If you're a medium-sized company, even teetering on the side of a larger business, then Salesforce is likely going to be overkill and much more than you need. Having said that, Salesforce is very much targeted towards the larger enterprise audience and is designed with them in mind. Many of those companies will already have significant RevOps teams in place. In terms of support, Salesforce does offer some self-service capabilities, but the service can be limited and sometimes customer questions remain unanswered, while the live support isn't easily usable. Before making a decision on a platform, I would encourage you to look at the reviews on platforms like G2. You'll notice a few things highlighting challenges in contacting customer care and support. While Salesforce has a ton of integrations available, because Salesforce itself is quite technical, it can mean that integrations may require some custom development to ensure they work as expected, which obviously adds to the time and cost of integration. Also, because Salesforce doesn't have marketing and service functions built in, you have to have HubSpot, Marketo, or Pardot, or something similar to use it across the full marketing and sales funnel. This means you have to spend additional money to get the full use out of it. Salesforce can be customized in a lot of ways, but its basic out-of-the-box functionality can leave something to be desired. There are several limitations with the system from basic to enterprise version. Things like rules, limited custom fields, or shared files. Perhaps more challenging for large enterprise companies, though, is the limits on storage, which can quickly become a problem for large multi-country enterprises. Not to labor the point, but because of its growth through acquisition model, some of the bolt-on functionality has been known to be troublesome. The Salesforce to HubSpot integration is known for being better than the Salesforce to Pardot integration, despite being under the same umbrella. Of course, it is possible to get to know Salesforce well and learn your way around it, but it can take a lot of training and time investment to really get the most out of it. One of the more common issues we see with complex implementations is where the business invests time and effort in the rollout and the internal project owner, and they leave later down the line. You can end up with a large, complex system that your team doesn't really understand. As with Salesforce, HubSpot has its pros and cons and often depends on your needs as to which way you view them. With HubSpot, you can start to see some expense as you move through the different tiers, but comparatively speaking, HubSpot has managed to keep pretty competitive with its pricing even as its feature set has reached similar levels of enterprise functionality. And because it's built organically, HubSpot also gives you access to your sales and CRM features in one solution. There are no unexpected costs. The only additional costs you incur with HubSpot CRM are the costs involved with upgrading your features and number of seats. Unlike Salesforce, there are no additional customization costs involved, like paying for the support or consultants to implement the tool at the beginning. And what's really great about the pricing model HubSpot use, you only pay for revenue generating sales seats, so you're not paying for the wider admin and management team. When using HubSpot, the CRM tracks customer interactions automatically, so you always have the most recent data, while the Gmail and Outlook integrations mean you can get information on email engagement in real time. Don't get us wrong, HubSpot's reporting isn't perfect, and we've heard some complaints, which we share, but recent changes and others planned for the near future make us think it's definitely an area HubSpot is focusing more on. But the reports do have their uses. Activity benchmarking and integration with marketing activity and campaigns, it can provide a key top-down overview of the entirety of the sales and marketing funnel, something very few other platforms can do straight out of the box. For some context, here's a quote taken directly from G2. It is a huge benefit to my job to have the dashboard function so I can specifically create and maintain them for each team member, showing their monthly benchmark progress, outreach numbers, and conversion rates. Perhaps the main user benefit is that HubSpot CRM syncs directly with their marketing tools, which means you have a simple path for leads to take from your marketing to sales. Again, HubSpot has one up on Salesforce here because its product has been built from the ground up and created with the end user in mind. Because it was built for sales reps and managers, it is very much a user experience designed product and is much more intuitive for the end user. As we've mentioned in many of our other tool comparisons, the main benefit of having a single concise full funnel product is huge. From team training to support, it will make your life far easier and reduce the overall running costs. HubSpot is now also a main player at the enterprise level with functionality and features that means it can meet the requirements of more complex business needs for teams of up to around 500 salespeople. When it comes to integrations, first, let's deal with the most obvious one. HubSpot does integrate very well with Salesforce, so if you wanted to go down the route of using one with the other, you do have that option. But from a pure numbers standpoint, Salesforce does have a bigger app marketplace. But taking into account the single purpose nature of Salesforce, that makes sense. It doesn't have the same feature richness across the non-sales functionality, such as marketing and customer service. With HubSpot, these are built into the mix. You just need to turn them on. Obviously, these extra integrations also come at increased cost, both in the tool set and the inevitable learning curve these additional platforms bring. If you're looking for a CRM that you can get your team up and running on relatively quickly, then HubSpot wins this category hands down. It's not unreasonable to expect a user to go from complete novice to being able to confidently use the platform after half a day's training. Salesforce, on the other hand, takes some serious time investment to learn and is probably more aimed at the upper echelon of management looking for reports, rather than those using it in the day-to-day. But obviously, it's not all rainbows and sunshine with your own sprocket. While HubSpot CRM is widely used, its enterprise-level functionality is relatively new. When it comes to widespread use, Salesforce definitely has the edge in this category, but given the ease of adoption, getting people on board and making use of HubSpot is a very quick process. Although HubSpot can be customized heavily around your business needs using the API, it doesn't have the same level of options and integrations as Salesforce. While HubSpot is much easier to use out of the box, if your needs are on the more complex side, Salesforce still just has the edge. HubSpot does have plans for features like custom objects, which are due to come into play soon, but for now, it doesn't quite offer the same level of customization. Like most of these comparisons, had we been doing this a year ago, our verdict would have been pretty clear cut. If you were an SME looking for a smaller, affordable, scalable option for your CRM, then you would have been better off with HubSpot. If you're a larger enterprise organization with more complex requirements out of a CRM, then Salesforce would be the option to go for. But as HubSpot has put more focus on its enterprise level software, it has become a much closer call. In this case, we do have to give it to HubSpot. Yes, Salesforce is more established on the enterprise stage, but the way that HubSpot has taken the benefits in terms of scalability, usability, and support and translated that into its enterprise level software means it has crept ahead of Salesforce as the CRM you would get the most out of. I am biased, but honestly, I still believe that it's advantage HubSpot. After all, historically speaking, David normally beats Goliath.